the Azeri government of, quote, caviar diplomacy. The report says Baku managed to suppress a report on political prisoners in 2013 and garnered political support in exchange for cash and gifts. This despite concerns about human rights violations within Azerbaijan. Now, joining me for more on this story, Gerald Knaus from the European Stability Initiative. That's the think tank that helped flag up these allegations. Hi, Gerald. Thanks for being with us on the line. Can you tell us a little more about the major recipients of these gifts and whether that was money well spent for Azerbaijan?
Well, it should be said that we published a report on caviar diplomacy in 2012, so 5 years ago. And at that time, we were looking at two things. Very strange behavior of a lot of European parliamentarians in the Council of Europe, which is Europe's leading human rights institution. And on the other hand, evidence from interviews and informers that Azerbaijan was making major donations, gifts, carpets, journeys, vacations, and money to some Europeans. Now, last year it came out that a leading Italian Christian Democrat who was in the Council of Europe at the time of decisive human rights votes had got million euros from Azerbaijan via strange shell companies. And these companies have now been investigated further, and it has been found out that a lot more money was reaching the European Union in strange ways. I think what we know at the moment about parliamentarians from EU countries receiving money is still only the tip of the iceberg.
And these latest revelations about the Azeri regime are certainly very damaging to the country itself, but how does it reflect on practice within the Council of Europe?
Well, the Council of Europe is going through one of its most dramatic periods in its history. It was created after World War II to create safety mechanisms to protect basic human rights in European democracies. But when Azerbaijan joined, which is not a democracy, and started to undermine it for too many years, the last 10 years, reaction. This year, what we are seeing for the first time is a group of members of the Council of Europe from different countries and different parties coming together and pushing to change the rules on transparency and on prevention. We will see some very dramatic days in a few weeks when the MPs meet again in Strasbourg. They might replace the current president or might dismiss the current president of the Council of Europe. There is an independent investigation into the corruption. The Council of Europe needs to give itself the rules on transparency that are more credible than what it has until now. Until now, FIFA, the Football Association, has been a model of transparency compared to the Council of Europe, where basically no rules have been enforced when it comes to gifts, conflicts of interest, or possible corruption.
Mm-hmm. And today, two French journalists have appeared in court accused of defamation in terms of their reporting on Azerbaijan. That's something of a first, a foreign country pursuing journalists here in France. What do you make of that?
Well, it's quite extraordinary, but in a way it might be useful. It has to be said that obviously these journalists are pursued because they did a very good job. They were among a group of European journalists that were investigating and finding evidence of these gifts being given to Western politicians. And what who really have been at the center of uncovering some of this abuse and who are taking the biggest risks are journalists who are now in Azerbaijan still. There are some very courageous investigative journalists in Baku. They keep publishing about corruption and money laundering and abuse. And the role of the media, both these independent journalists in Baku and journalists across Europe, as we've seen in recent reports, to keep exposing what is happening is absolutely vital. So obviously, these journalists are not put on trial. It's a ridiculous trial because they're being put on trial for freedom of speech. They say Azerbaijan is a dictatorship, which it obviously is. But it is a reminder that the regime is trying to suppress any form of criticism anywhere by any means.
Thank you very much. Gerald Knaus reporting there from Ljubljana, Slovenia. Now let's just give